All right, we can get rocking with our Friday program. I thought I'd hitch on the captains, who we had, and on offense, it's going to be Sam Cosme. I thought, man, there's been a lot of unseen work of the injury from last January to everything put in to getting right back through it. So I just thought, man, line of scrimmage day, and Sam's going to be a big part of that. I thought even into last week, probably his best game. And so you expect that from somebody coming off an injury. And I thought defensively, Will Harris. And, man, he brings a lot to our building, not just the player, but who he is as the man, the communicator. And so, again, a lot of unseen work that goes into these spaces when a guy's injured before returning to play. And then the other person on special teams and on just in the team is Jeremy McNichol. And humility, dependability, and when we need something done, like put J-Mac in. Like he's going to find a way, he's going to get it done, and so there's some big deals. I specifically brought him up just oftentimes when there's a play to be made, whether it's on offense or on teams, J-Mac's usually somehow involved in some of these plays, a block, a big play on a third down, the right read, just those conversions. It's such a big deal. We talked a lot over the last few months about standards, and we continue to push and chase that. And I like to think if you walked into yesterday's practice or today's, you wouldn't know what our team's record was. And the effort, the intensity, that's not something that we're looking to show up on Sunday. That's got to be every day. And it says everything about our group, that they continue to put into that work to get ourselves ready to play. So, that's what I was looking for from them. And so that's going to be the case in a series of weeks leading ahead of these types of practices. So no doubt it'll pay dividends for us over the game. So thought Jaden threw a great week of practice. He was full Thursday, full today. He's been cleared to play, and he will start Sunday. See how I buried the lead right there, John? You like that? Yeah, I was just trying to go so long and wait it out. Yeah, I saw you getting ready. So, but he really threw a great week, you guys. And like the other players, when you're injured, there's a lot of work that has to go back to it. I thought Jaden and the medical team put in many hours behind the scenes to get ready, from treatment to rehab to specific brace to all of it. And that's what it takes, when you're finding your space to get back. And so just gratitude for everybody, pulling the same space. Everybody here's aligned and how we want to get things done. So that was a good deal. Attaway. Yeah.
When was it that you really felt really good about his chances for Sunday?
I felt good going into the practice through Wednesday, just by the way he threw the ball, and that kind of carried over into yesterday. And then after they did a lot of the post-practice work with contact and that, the throwing part, you can tell he's been on that, not just this week. The throwing part, he's been on that the whole time. So that looked as sharp as ever. So I thought that part would come, but we wanted to see everybody around him, with the game plan of how it would work. So I thought just the whole week, John, he threw a hell of a week.
And why or how important is it for him to get back out there just to finish out this season?
Yeah, it's really important for him, for his teammates, for any of the guys, honestly. And, looking into it with 5 games, that's 30% of our season. There's a lot. All of these matter. And, as he's developing, there's certain things he's working on too, to go ahead and be as competitive as hell and, taking care of things that he can. And so it's really important, John. And so as the process for that begins, we're ready to get rolling with that. Yep. So Bobby, I thought had a really good practice today. No surprise. I wasn't surprised that he would. And, coming back from an injury, there's literally nobody tougher. He just wills himself into that. A lot of it's his discipline, how hard he works at things in his training. So, there's carryover where, he's stronger than the, average dude. He's definitely built differently. So I'm encouraged for him. And then Noah had a planned day today where we rest him, and had also a really good week, Nikki. So we'll do all the transactions and such tomorrow, but he threw a really good week too.
Is the expectation that he will play?
That would be the expectation. Like I said, we'll have the transactions and meetings tomorrow, but he threw a really good week.
Hey, Coach. The last 2 weeks in game and in practice, what are some of the little things that you're starting to see from this team, particularly in the secondary?
It's a good question. What I think, Don, I've seen is the ability to play really fast without the mistakes. And so, like, I've never questioned our team's effort, so the speed, the effort, good, but also in control, where you can be on that fine line of going as fast, as hard as you can, but the practice habits and doing that allowed us, I think, to go into the game ready to do that. So when you can really nail it at practice, and you know this as a former player, like, it's to get to the game and like, man, I just did that. I just did that in practice. I did it at that speed. I know the look. I know the timing. And so I think that's what I've seen from us, over the last 2 weeks, the practice and the speed at it and the ability to do it high speed, but without spinning out and being out of control, like doing it both. If you feel like you're going too fast, you probably are. So it's like in control, but going really fast.
And looking at the Vikings, when you look at last year, what they were able to do, and this year struggled a little bit, how do you see that team overall on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, they've got experienced play callers, number one with Flo and Kevin. And so scheme-wise, challenging enough, like just at the very top of it, defensively of linebackers that can blitz and get downhill, different disguises, different ways to play. So that's, a challenge in itself. On the offensive side, they've got fantastic skill guys, to make different plays in different spots. So combine those two things with good play callers, you can see, easy challenge where to go. And on the team side, good matchups. They've got good kick returner, punt returner. So all over, I see these good matchups that are going to be, high-level battles. As far as, last year to this year, focusing more, honestly, on the group for this year.
Hey, Coach, so I'm going back to the point of the secondary. I know we talked often about Mikey Samuelsville. What have you seen from him from last year to this year, just how he is handling overall the leadership responsibilities, the adversity? There's been a lot of changes in that.
Yes.
Due to injury.
Yeah, there's definitely ups and downs. And I thought, here's what I was proud of for last week. I thought for the season, I thought that was probably his best game. And it may not have had an interception or, like a big play, but in tackling. Just because it didn't go your way doesn't mean they weren't trying you. And so that was, I thought, his best performance. When you just feel like you're on it and you're on it, that's what I felt like from him. There was a fantastic tackle over on the sideline and a 2-minute drill. But that's where I thought, like, I felt here's his best, and he was like, he had sight of that, what he could look like and how it could be. And so that's a really important thing. Can we do that again? Can he stay consistent with that? And so through the ups and the downs, those are lessons that, you have to go through. They oftentimes are like really hard because, why did that happen? And that stresses you in leading, when you're searching for consistency. And so last game, I was proud of that performance from him, Candy, and it was really consistent. May not shown up on the stat sheet, but it was very consistent.
And the offensive line has been a hot topic this week. Tyler Biotic, what have you seen from him?
Yeah, first off, the calls. And like in a game like this is really important that the backs, the quarterbacks, the O-line, they're all in sync together and being decisive about that. And so a guy like Tyler, the extra meetings, hey, let's bring the quarterbacks, running backs together to go through it even before they do it with the group. So moments like that of like being prepared and being ahead, that's one of the traits that Tyler brings. Like he's always ahead. He's thinking about it. What's next? What are things? So like I like that when he's at the center of it all, directing it, that he's put a lot of thought. He's not going to get caught off guard. And inside, just having that presence, that's a big deal. This week, we're going to have to do a great job on our cadence. Our O-line has their ways, and Ty, he'll be right in the middle of that as well.
Dan, obviously, we talked a lot about with Jaden being clear physically. Best availability for the best asset for any player is, of course, availability. What do you hope to see, if anything, different from him in terms of his mentality, how he attacks the game, considering the injury, or how do you kind of do that?
Yeah, I think you said it right. You want to attack first, like that's who he is as a ball player and as a competitor. And you also want to make those great decisions. When is the time that this play has to, get extended, go down the field, which ones don't, when can I throw it away, when's the slide? So all of those are important parts then of the development. And so that's why, like, it matters, the space to do that to keep improving, that's a big deal. And that's what we're looking for sure, those decisions. And you've got to be in that arena in those fights to fully express it.
And non-Jaden question. Last week you guys elevated TJ off of practice squad. Don't know if you even had asked a single question about him going back to training camp as the IPP player around here hasn't played. What did you see to decide, hey, we want him up, and what did you kind of see out of him in the game?
Yeah, first off, I'd seen the work in the development. I thought Ryan Kerrigan and Darryl, they put in the work with TJ coming, because we put him at DM. We weren't exactly sure what was going to be the best spot. We knew he was a nice athlete. OC is in charge of some of the development stuff for the IPP, and of course he plays DN. So like every good athlete, man, he'll be a great D end. So was he going to be a tight end, a DN? I wasn't sure, and I knew just watching this film from rugby that he had like unique traits about him, and oftentimes I would show that to the team and they would get like, all right, there's seeing him. But he really is developed because of the speed, the quickness. I wanted him in for last week just to add some more pass rush to our group. Could he add a flash? Could he do that? And so it was great to get his first action. That won't be his last one, I wouldn't think. But he's a player that's developing, he's ascending, and he's going to grow. I think you're going to continue to see like this when, a year ago he was not playing football and thinking about it. Like, think of the challenge of that in, not even a year's time to say, I'm going to give this thing a go. And like, not many people get that op. And so he's absolutely taking advantage of it.
Take three more. Hey, good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon.
Pass rushing perspective, you guys don't rush your DBs very often. Just kind of curious, like theologically, why that is.
Sometimes when you do that, there's other, exposures you could get. If you're doing zones, it makes it somewhat easier. If you're going to bring a nickel, who's going to take the coverage of the slot player? If you want a safety into that space. So sometimes we would, but I'd rather bring more, closer to the line of scrimmage, often than somebody that's further away. And then on the cover side of things, on those moments, can we keep those guys in that, can guard and be in that spot? So more just personnel driven. If there was, somebody that had, blitz ability than over cover ability, like I'd lean into that more too. In the past, that was Chin. I blitzed him a lot, knowing that, there's a big guy ripping off the edge. And so I think it's kind of, how do you want to match the players and do that? But we're equipped to do those. But I think you're just trying to find the best matchups you can.
You guys run Jaden a little bit less this year in the time he's played relative to last year on the design stuff, RPOs. Have you had any conversations with Cliff about deploying him differently or adjusting play calling given the injuries that he's had this year?
It's a great question. I'm going to really be very vanilla with you. It involves the game plan. So we're going to make great decisions. We're going to make great decisions.
Sean Laswell. I know that you won't know for sure what.
It's okay. I can hear you.
It's going to get activated tomorrow, Noah Brown, but your first opportunity in a long time to have your three starting receivers out there. How does that help, in addition to James being back?
Yeah, seeing those three at practice, that you felt energy, you felt playmaking ability. I think you probably felt some of that with Terry back into it, where it opens up other things as well. And so adding Noah back into that would be a really big deal for us. His physicality, the playmaking ability, he's very experienced, and like honestly going through, like getting back into the return to play, like in the meetings, knowing it, like he's always somebody that was on it in that space. So I just love the competitor that he is, and it would certainly add a lot for us.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Jaden will be at the podium shortly, but locker room's also open.
I get it. I understand. I asked the question.